What was the inspiration behind Piggy's look?
Piggy's thing was basically, I said to the network that you know, I wanted to put a bunch of aliens on the world, all like kid-friendly, but as wacky as I can make them. I didn't want it to be just the plain like forehead or like, ooh, we're an alien. I wanted to really stretch out the universe. And for Piggy, I said, let's make this guy like as crazy as we can. And I came up with the idea that, you know, what if a monkey had mated with an artichoke? And that's kind of what happened. And at first, everybody hated it. You know, I was like, you know, the cool thing about being the executive producer was in the early meetings, I'd be working on designs and stuff, and I would say to the Disney execs, like, who has to approve this stuff? And it'd be like, you. And I'm like, done. You know, that's what we want. You know, I had to run things through and make sure that it was all cool, but for the most part, like it didn't have to go through these big committee meetings and everything. And Bruce and I would talk about what we wanted things to look like, and I would just go off. And but Piggy, I started working on Piggy, and everybody was like, I don't know. But then Barney Duncan put the makeup on and just brought this character to life to where it was like, you know, after the second episode when he appears, instantly we were just getting emails and stuff like, how many more episodes can you fit Piggy into? And, you know, just so it's with creatures and things like that. It starts out with a little bit of inspiration, but it's really a team effort. You know, it's like you could have the coolest design in the world, but if the actor can't bring life to it, and that's why we keep Kelson around. He brings life to the masks too. He's like in or out, it doesn't matter.
Should go for shit.
Oh no, you go.
Okay. I was just wondering, and I mentioned this offhand to Chris like yesterday. If you guys had the opportunity to do more seasons, right, would you have made use of the time travel that you guys did in like history and wormhole, or would you have just sort of kept it centered in like, you know, the SPD world, what was going on there?
Well, I'll be honest, and I'll just put it out on the table.
I know you can.
I'll get some emails from Bruce, but I hate time travel, and I fought and fought and fought to not do the time travel. You know, it's tough in the Ranger universe and the Ranger timeline, doing the reunion shows and stuff. It's like suddenly, you know, you have 2 seasons that are, you know, yeah, there could be huge gaps, and it's like, and these people have to meet on the street, like, hey, I know you, and you know, how do you do that? But it just seemed like time travel is just like the quickest and easiest way, and you know, time travel only works like a couple times. You know, Back to the Future, that worked really well, and it's like you have this. The whole movie has to be about, or the whole show has to be about the time travel and like why it works. And if it's just like suddenly, you know,
Blessing.
if suddenly, you know, a rip in space opens up, and I don't know, it just seemed like a patch to me. So I wanted to do different things. And so I guess in answer to the question, if we were to do more, if we were to continue, I know that I would fight as much, you know, as hard as possible to just keep some kind of continuous thing, or do, you know, prequels or sequels or whatever, but not just bounce back to that one.
So you wouldn't have done team ups? You would have taken a different form?
No, I would have done a team up, but I had different proposals in mind. I wanted to somehow bring the other characters, just not in a random.
Well, like the establishment of SPD, because that's what the hidden episode does. It's Kira and Ethan getting direct information about the Trubians. I thought that was going to be setting up the team up.
No, see, that was also, and I think I can say to Bruce being like, why did you say that? Because I think we've said this before. We didn't do that. We had just signed on, and we were over there, you know, watching the Dino Thunder, and the marketing was working on that, and that was cool and all fine, but we also had a very different idea of how we wanted that to start. We basically wanted to use, instead of like an intro of like Dino Thunder viewing SPD, we actually wanted to use that little moment to be the catalyst that starts SPD, you know, like show how the first alien comes there. I guess, you know, Bruce kind of went and integrated that idea into the later season and used Piggy as being the first alien. But there were things that were going on with that we were actually talking about for the promo. And we were new to the company, and they were just like, well, you guys are promos? And we were like, but doesn't that kind of set up everything that we're working on? Right. They were like, go do some budget report.
So what would you have done for Sam if you were going to do time travel?
Well, Sam was okay because, you know, it was more like he was like a time travel alien, you know. I'm just saying in terms of like Sam's story, and actually someone asked me like 3 o'clock in the morning, they said, I don't see them here. They said that Sam, oh wait, let me think, because there was a hole, and I was up, I couldn't sleep because I'm like, I know there's no way that he said, Sam is from the future, so why didn't Sam know about Omni?
Or A Squad, right, the man's been asking
yeah,
that.
and all that stuff. And the answer is that Sam came back from a future where the brothers
destroyed the Power Rangers.
What you played the
Devastation.
Shooting.
Yeah, that they came back and destroyed everything. So he was from a world where SPD had already been, you know, just like they were like the last remnants, and so Grum technically didn't even really fit into that picture. Like he would have either moved on or
they muscled him out, basically. They
yeah,
took her for
like
themselves.
you know, that's a whole story of whatever would have happened. But in terms of, you know, our true storyline, he's not from that future. He was from an alternate future, so he didn't know. But it's things like that made it work. I'm just saying in terms of the team ups and stuff, to just be like, oh, someone manipulates time and there, because why wouldn't they just do that all the time?
Absolutely.
Every day.
Right, exactly.
You know,
Once you
who's
do
the best person? You know, bring back George Washington, bring back whatever, like whatever you need on that day. You know, it's like, oh, there's too many cherry trees. You know?
It's actually a comment for you. I just want to thank you for making this. Like, I can actually show it to people, and they won't even know it's Power Rangers for like until they're like more, and they're like, watch it, like, this is awesome. What is this? I'm like, it's Power Rangers, you know? Like they don't even know. And like before that and after that, like nothing's been the same as that. Like I don't know, it's the quality of it. It's just so amazing.
Well, thank you.
That's really something that you wanted to. I remember when we first came of the beginnings, he was like, and they don't morph until like the last possible minute because we want to get people to know you before they're in their spandex. And then we did it, and we were like, because when you find out that you're doing Power Rangers, you're like, oh, it's basically, you know, it's a lot of toys and a lot of fighting, but not a lot of acting. But the first 2 episodes that we did, we were like, wow, like we're playing characters here. There's a storyline here. And then after those first 2 episodes, it became quicker and quicker and quicker the time that we would morph. Like we would meet in the common room and we'd have a scene, and then the alarm would go off and then we'd morph. And it would be like, the joke became like, how fast could we morph at the beginning of the scene. So I think like we really, and that's a part of what made working with Greg off the top, like, you know, so great, is because, and why maybe these episodes hit home in a different way than anything else, is because Greg took the time to write some characters beyond the Power Ranger mystique. And I think, you know, in answer to your question about doing more, I think that's what we would probably focus on.
Yeah, we would do more. And, you know, and it was Bruce and I, like, when we sat down, when we first got the gig, we were like, we want to make this about characters. And we want to, you know, the Rangers needed to be there, but we wanted to give you guys reasons to like the Rangers, you know, like other than like, oh, he's red and he's blue and she's pink. It was more like, my hope was that when you were watching the fighting, you were still like, that's Bridge and that's Sky and that's, you know, you were looking past the helmet and knowing the character.